What up? What up? What's up, everybody? Warm hello and a sincere thank you for being here today. Please let me know if you can hear me okay. This is, of course, part of the quick market update series on my YouTube channel at Cheds Trading. I try to do these streams 2 days a week. I'm really thankful. I'm really thankful that you folks are here. It's nice to have you. I hope everybody is doing well. I'm, of course, Big Cheds from Twitter and on Bitcoin Live, where I'm a founding analyst. So today, folks, we're going to have a lot of fun. But before I get started, check out the new playlist I have for you. It's called the Trading Encyclopedia. You may not know about it, but I put out a new video every day. And the idea for me here is that when you come here and you're trying to figure something out, what's a two-level filter, how to play a fake out, what's an uptrend, what's an inverted hammer, you know, what's the MACD, anything you're looking for, I want to have a little 3-minute video here for you folks to look at. That way you can learn. And I want to make it easy to digest. And so I have this playlist, the Trading Education, the Trading Encyclopedia playlist. You know, I'm teaching you classical charting, Japanese candlestick theory. Check that out. You know, I've got Trading Journal right now on Amazon. So I'm making trading quotes free. I've got that book for free. All my stuff's basically free, all my books. Check it out on YouTube. So I love you folks. I'm glad you're here. I see the chat room is filling up quickly already. So if you have any questions, if you guys want me to look at a chart or two or three, I can try to do that. Drop me a line. Just drop me a line in the chat room. But before I begin, I'll just kind of quickly riff here through the charts and I'll tell you what my thoughts are. And then I'll touch base with you folks. So what are we thinking here? What is Bitcoin doing? Is it altcoin season? Has Bitcoin topped off? Ethereum outperforming, Bitcoin. There's a lot of stuff kind of going on. But we'll start higher time frame. If you're kind of not sure how we got here, I do recommend you go back and watch my video from Friday. I'm live streaming Tuesday and Friday. And I'll skip occasionally, but, of course, I never skip Bitcoin Live. But you can usually go back and just to get a sense of how we got here. The weekly chart is beautiful here on Bitcoin. It's rising above the MA200. We had this very nice consolidation here, and we just recently broken out of the consolidation. Kind of zooming in a little bit, we had the advance into the the inside bar here. A couple doji held the EMA 8, and we had just that very brief sweep and recapture of 100K right on the daily chart. Gave you another long signal. Bitcoin's giving you so many nice long signals along the way just recently. 81K, 78K, 885. So it's been a nice, steady, orderly trend. It's allowed you, opportunities to enter 100K sweep. And so in the weekly chart, we had this nice high and tight consolidation, right? And if you don't know what a high and tight consolidation is, I've made a video for you. It's in the playlist, the Trading Encyclopedia. We've broken out of the high and tight consolidation, and we just advanced here into a small body. So we had a nice advance and then a small body, suggesting even some more consolidation to come. But it's consolidation above a rising EMA 8. It's an uptrend. All that being said, weekly chart looks super clean, right? Daily chart, kind of looking at this volume. What does this volume mean? Well, the volume makes sense that you see in the daily chart because you can zoom in and you can dissect it a little bit and kind of see how it played out with the 4-hour drop into demand or into support. So we advanced here, and here's where the volume came on the 4-hour as price was testing support, right? So that's why there was all the volume. Volume responded, high wave candle, suggesting the mean reversion was over, and now we've been doing this tightening range. This is the tightening range we see expressed in the weekly chart with that small body, that spinning top. And I love the chat room. Great energy, folks. So it looks really good, right? Pretty much in all time frames. What's notable, though, is what the rest of the market's doing, right? Ethereum just super grinding higher, held in 2100. We had the minor tower top held at the midpoint, another throwback to 2100. Advanced, 2900 broke out of there, and kind of charging towards these high time frame peaks. What's interesting, and I put out a tweet yesterday, maybe I'll get a chance to go over a couple tweets. Let's see, Ethereum first doji in 10 sessions. Kind of interesting. where you have this nice bull flag and break in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, first doji. That also suggests consolidation. You think about the concept of candle body progression. Say a small body, then a big body, another big body, then another smaller body, maybe even a doji. And you can kind of see expansion and pause and contract. So it looks like maybe even some consolidation potentially coming, on Ethereum. Now, Ethereum versus Bitcoin is flirting with a very key level high time frame. All right. Now we have the daily downtrend's been very steady. But what's notable now in the daily chart of Ethereum versus Bitcoin, which is ETH BTC, which is also often a proxy for altcoins, we had a very sharp drop, which allowed this snap back. We had a nice snap back, set a low, now a higher low, and broke out of this local level and advanced into the key level that needs to flip higher time frame, right? So really over 0.032 would suggest to me that the weekly chart is going to make a run to these higher levels, and that maybe Bitcoin chills out a little bit while Ethereum runs, altcoins run. And it's a key level not only for the 032 area, just because of a simple, support turned into resistance, but the MA50, right? The weekly SMA 50, simple moving average, equally weighted. So we're right at that SMA 50 as well. A lot of really interesting altcoins to cover. It's like, which ones do you want to talk about? To talk about like Algo was interesting, notable accumulation, MA200 recapture. And you take a quick little look at Algo. And here in the daily chart, which is interesting, was all the volume we saw. And I always look at volume, it gets my attention. And we see the double bottom, right? We see the double bottom. Here's a lower high. Broke the double bottom, big volume and accumulation. That's interesting. That's notable. That shows you that bulls are really stepping in and putting some momentum behind the move, gives you a little more confidence in the break. And Solana too. How could I not talk about Solana? It's a big deal to get back up above the 185 level. It had been kind of underperforming, kind of channel trading for a while. This is a big time long entry, right? If you were sidelined, you had done nothing. Whether you played this sweep and recapture, whether you played this sweep and recapture circa 145, even 165 break, this is a big time long signal breaking 185. So Solana looks really strong. What's up, Caro? Let's see. Jabril says, how you doing? What's up, Jabril? Good to see you, brother. A lot of great questions. Psalm Capital, Andy, Bilal, nice to see you, my friends. Influence. Hey, Influence, what's up, brother? I put out the OB video today. You had asked me, when's my on balance volume video? It came out today. These are ranked in like order of views. So the OBV video, there you go. Just came out. You can check that out. I think you will like that. Raul, Emmanuel. So let's get to your questions, right? I want to answer your questions. So Andy had an interesting question at the beginning of the video. Cheds, say you have a nice chart that you identify as an uptrend. Well, how do you identify an uptrend? Well, I have a video on that, right, in the trading encyclopedia. It's essentially, in classical charting, it's the MA200, right? It's a simple moving average, which means it's equally weighted, and price above a rising MA200 is an uptrend. So you have an uptrend. You identify a key resistance level that the chart is approaching. Let's say it rejects, okay, but the price is still above the EMA 8. Okay, this is a really good question, right? So we know that, EMA 8, right? Primary uptrend support. Now, horizontal levels are kind of the end boss, the trump card. So in your question, if the price has gotten to a level and it's rejecting there, but the EMA 8 is holding, that's fine, but it needs to either flip resistance or not. Support needs to either hold or not. So moving averages are good to give you a sense of trend strength, weakening trend, strengthening trend, but you don't necessarily use them as support and resistance levels. You can a little bit, it's guidelines, but it's horizontal levels. We use and I talk about this in moving average basics. You want to make sure you have a nearby horizontal level to measure your risk. So I would work with the horizontal. What's up? Nice comments from 369ML says, you helped me learn trading and enjoying life. Wow, thank you. Raul says, thank you for the live sessions. Thank you, Raul. Okay, esports. Can you check the on-balance volume, which is OBV, on ZIL? I haven't looked at ZIL Q in a long time. This is an oldie but goodie. It's fun to see. Oh, bad chart. Yikes. There's a weird candle here too. There's also kind of thinly traded. This is one you can see just based on this. There's not a lot of volume. Not only, even without looking at the volume here, these candles look, you shouldn't have gaps in crypto. There's just basically no action on this chart. The question was, can you check the OBV? I mean, there's nothing really going on with the OBV. Sure, it's rising a little bit, but there's just not a lot of volume overall. So OBV is a momentum indicator. It's an index adding up volume in the green and red candles. You know, essentially want to use it to confirm a trend. This chart just has a lot of warning signs. I don't like the chart. I don't like the lack of liquidity. It's a downtrend. You know, it's well below lost support levels. This is, you know, if anything, it's even setting up for a short here. Like if it bounces a little bit higher, this is a really bad chart. So I would completely avoid it unless you're looking for shorts. Even then, there's not a lot of volume or action, not a lot of liquidity. This is just a really bad chart. Esports, I would say to avoid it. There are so many great charts, links breaking out, XRP, Stellar Lumen, you know, H-bar looks good. There's a lot of really good altcoin charts right now. You should definitely not be touching. This is just a trash, terrible chart. I would delete this from your watch list. That's how bad it is. All right. Let's see. Someone asked me, Psalm, what's up, brother? You asked me about Rect, newish coin. So if it's a newish coin, I'm not going to do TA on it. Like the whole point of TA is you want price history and you're trying to look, you know, you're trying to identify a trend and take advantage of a move against the trend. So I'm not going to really do TA on a new coin. Shout out from Bay Area. What's up, Joshua? Bonk. Crypto says Bonk 4-hour Bollinger Bands are tight. I mean, Bonk's been pretty strong. It had that nice W breakout. I tweeted that out a little while ago. Let's go to, I think Kraken has decent history. Yeah, look at that. So there's a nice break on Bonk. You talked about a 4H bands are being tight, the Bollinger Bands. The Bollinger Bands, what they do is kind of show you when they're getting really tight. It suggests there's a kind of an explosive move coming. That's the pinch, right? And basically, it does a look back against its own volatility, like 2 standard deviations of volatility. And when the Bollinger Bands are expanding, you're having more volatility than normal. And when they get tight, kind of lets you know to get ready for a move. You see a couple pinches or squeezes here. Yeah, they're getting pretty tight. They're definitely getting pretty tight. It's a decent look here on the 4-hour. I mean, you want to call it a bear flag, sure, but not technically, not really, because you should never have a flag go on more than 50% of the flag pole. This is just a rising channel. It's above local support. I would actually be looking to buy dips if it dropped a little bit lower. It looks pretty good, and you step out of the 4-hour into the daily and the weekly, and you kind of set the table and look at the trend here in the daily. You see the nice large base break and the advance into where the price had previously stalled. So it's really no surprise to see it kind of chill out and pause to consolidate here. Maybe look to buy a higher low once it kind of establishes one. So let it consolidate, right? Overall looks pretty good. Can you check, Raul, can you check ADA? Sure. Let's check ADA. What do I have ADA here? Why don't I have ADA readily on my list? Something's happened, right? Somebody jumped in and changed my list, right? So let's add it back. I should have ADA on here because it looks pretty good. So let's take a look at ADA. And so ADA, let's take a look. Yeah. So ADA, right? What's the 2-level filter? Descending supply trend break, lower high break. It triggered 2-level filter around 75 cents. And rather than pausing, where you would have thought it might pause around 85, 86 cents, it just kind of churned right through that. So ADA looks good. You want to see it hold, support or demand right around 84, 85 cents. By the way, folks, if you're listening to my voice, let me know if you've seen the Trading Encyclopedia. I made this playlist for you. Let me know if you're enjoying it. Let me know if there's any videos, you'd like to see that are not in there yet. Thank you, Rory, for the compliment. Let's look at some other questions. Can you look at Bitcoin weekly, and where do you think Bitcoin's going in the next 30 to 50 days? That's a really tough thing to handicap. Your question was about, will it hit 135? Okay, so here's the thing. Why is 135 important? It's really not. A lot of people have said that because they're taking very simply, again, the measured move rule, in classical charting, where you more or less take the height of a consolidation. When you break out, you extend it, and it gets you roughly into that range. But, price targets don't really do that much for you. They're general guidelines. Maybe it gets to 135, but are you going to sell at 135 if there's no weakness? It could keep going, right? And it may pause. It may give you warning signs here or at 125, right? So, don't spend too much time focusing on a generic price target, especially in blue sky breakout. You just have no price history. Just follow the trend and see what kind of mode it's in. Weekly chart, it's above EMA 8, it's above prior range highs. We see the spinning top after the advance, suggesting some consolidation. All right, where's it going to be in 50 days? I don't know. I'm not that good. If I was, I don't know what I would do. Maybe I would own an island, right? I talked about Ethereum versus Bitcoin, and Aiden, it was a good question. B. Caro says, Bitcoin 1 minute candle. I'm not going to do that. There's really no point in going down to a 1 minute. If you go that low, that's addiction or just addiction to, I have my own addictions. I'm not judging, but that's, addiction to action or, I need to see a 1 minute chart. No good, right? So I'm not going to analyze a 1 minute chart. I don't want to get into that habit, nor do I want you to be looking that low. I actually rarely drop below 4 hour. Okay, but how do you know what time frame to use? Well, I have a video for you in the Trading Encyclopedia. The rule of thumb in classical charting is after volatility, you can drop to a low time frame. When the price is at a key level, you can drop to a low time frame. What's a low time frame? Well, technically in classical charting, daily and below are lower time frames. You need to figure out, what works for you based on your methodology, your risk tolerance. You can find a head and shoulders, knees and toes, ascending triangle, any pattern you want in a 30-minute or 1 hour, but doesn't quite mean as much as a daily or a weekly. So if you're working on a 1 minute, let's say you're working on a 1 hour chart, your trade should be kind of based on a local price area, right? And you shouldn't be trading 1 minute thinking about a big weekly target, right? So trade within the time frame you're in. And also, if you're in the daily, you know what the weekly is doing. If you're on the 4 hour, know what the daily is doing. So that's a little bit on time frames. What's up, Zhao? You want me to look at Hype? Yeah, Hype looks good. Hype is grinding higher. We don't have a ton of history, but what we have is bullish for sure. Above the rising EMA 8. Flirting with or heading towards a throwback. I would probably wait to initiate a new long position, somewhere around 39 and 40 if it gets there. But this is a bullish chart. I'd rather be a bull than a bear. Influence says, I already saw the OBV video. Awesome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Zena says, can you look at Aave? Sure. And by the way, folks, thank you for joining. Your participation warms me. I enjoy doing these. They are optional. They're for fun. But when you show up, you give me motivation to do more videos. So if you like more of these, whatever, like, subscribe, all that, comment, yada, yada, yada. But just keep showing up, tell your friends, and devour the Trading Encyclopedia. I made it for you. So the question about Aave, can you look at it? Do you think it will break the upper band? So I assume you're talking about the daily chart. And I don't know if you mean that or the upper band in terms of just this local range, right? So we look at the candle structure very clearly. The price is setting a local range peak, a local ceiling. Bears are jumping in and rejecting higher prices right around 330, okay? Well, what does that mean? Oh, it's consolidating and pausing. We have the very key level flip at 230, 240, rising demand structure. What do you do with it? Will it break the upper band in the next move? I'd say probably. This is likely to continue higher. I would rather be a bull than a bear. In terms of a throwback target, I'd probably be looking a little bit lower, right around 275. Can you take a look at Fetch? What's up, Taylor? Nice to see you. By this point, I've recognized many of your names. So when I see them, it's nice to see you coming back. I appreciate all the return viewers. I appreciate all the new viewers. Also, Fetch here, just not a ton of volume. Look at this. Just like no action. See how the candles are kind of bouncing around. So that's sad. That means people aren't really playing in this sandbox. It doesn't have a ton of liquidity. It doesn't have a ton of action. So the question about Fetch, can you look at Fetch? Yeah, I look at it. So I don't like it. I mean, I like the trend is grinding higher, but I don't like this lack of volume and volatility. Maybe I can get another look on a different exchange. Maybe something's happening with that particular exchange. So is this okay? Yeah, all right. So, and then why does this look so completely different? FET AI, is this not the same thing? I know they've what, like rebranded. They're both roughly at 80 cents. So look, I'm not sure. I believe you're talking about Fetch on Binance, and maybe let me know in the chat. And I'll come back to this one, Taylor. Let me know exactly. Let's see, you Dot. So very looks at Dot. Sure. Let's take a look at Polkadot. Polkadot's been very much an underperformer. It's been a very weak chart, and if anything, it gives you short opportunities. So why a short opportunity? Well, we know we're trading with the trend, right? We're students of classical charting. We want to take advantage of dips and uptrends and bounces and downtrends. So if this bounces a little higher, maybe to around 5.15, you might look to initiate a short. Obviously, you would drop to a lower time frame and look at the price structure if it gets here. This is a bad chart that has tried to bounce. It's got support here, a little bit of a bounce, but it's super underperforming. Much of the rest of the chart has already completed some type of a double bottom, whether it be a lower low sweep double bottom, whether it be an equal lows or a higher low. We're seeing variations of this structure market-wide. This one is way below its peak. It is absolutely underperforming. Do not target this for a long. It's a junk chart. But if it gets a little bit higher, there might be some nice meat on the bone for a short. All right, Rory says, are you taking profit on your spot bags? I mean, I always take profit here and there, but there's no, if you're asking me, like, if this is like a backdoor way of, am I worried about Bitcoin? Do I think Bitcoin's in trouble? No, I'm not like selling any more than I've recently, acquired. I have a whole bunch way lower, and I've been trading, all along the way. And even if I took a long here at like 110, 12K, I might be selling partials, but there's no real warning sign. So it's a good question. Are you taking profit in your spot bags? Again, I'd rather have you ask me about a specific chart so I could address it that way, right? We want to remember we're trading in the four corners of the chart. What about the topping tail on Bitcoin? What topping tail? Okay, that's a good question. So you're referring to Urban Grower. This is the shooting star candle. So here's a couple things. Couple things to keep in mind. First of all, where's the if this is a bearish candle, it needs to have way more volume, right? Pretty mild volume, equal to the candle series. The volume came on the follow-up candle, but I dissected this for you on the 4-hour. This volume was not bearish volume. It was bulls stepping in and defending lows at support, okay? A lot of the time, first of all Japanese candlestick signals are short-term, and a lot of the time, even like a evening star or whatever, it just often means a drop back to like, second level support, EMA 34, MA 20, or maybe even just local range peak. The weekly chart is so incredibly strong. You want to still just condition yourself to buy dips in an uptrend, mark out levels. It's not really a warning sign. You have to understand how to put candlesticks into context. And again, I'm trying to teach you folks everything I know in the encyclopedia, in my masterclass, here on YouTube live streams, whatever. You have to dissect it, drop to lower time frames, see what the volume meant, where it came in relation to support and resistance, what the rest of the chart is doing. So that's my answer to what about the topping tail. This is not a topping tail. Okay, Finbar said you wanted me to. Oh yeah, you asked me about Caspa, and I looked it up for you, and I said it's actually not terrible. It's essentially an unconfirmed downtrend, price above a falling MA200. It's not terrible, but it's trying to catch up. And as I talked about, much of the rest of the market is already double bottomed. For this, it would really need to get above 13 cents to trigger. I don't personally like it because I'm gonna play the best stuff that's out there, the strongest, even like Curve, I'd rather be in Curve, even like Link and breaking out, certainly Solana. So it's not terrible. It's trying to catch up. But I would just pass over it personally, just because there's just more strength out there. You can play any chart. Don't fall in love with the story, the technology, the fundamentals are for fun, right? Fundamentals, they don't really give you much in terms of managing your risk. Esports says Binance, not Binance US. Oh, okay, so I was looking at something weird on FET, right? Binance, not Binance US. So, I mean, what's the difference? What did I do here? All right, let's take a look at fetch. Okay, here's your fetch. So you asked about fetch. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. It's a downtrend. Sure, it's got higher low potential double bottom, but most double bottoms fail. It's well below the peak. You honestly could be looking to start a short here. It's a down. Why? It's a downtrend that bounced. Way better charts out there. It is weak. It's trying to catch up. And look at all these, just a lot of red volume mixed in here. So your OBV is not going to be rising. It's probably like something like that. Let's take a look how my guess is. Yeah, look at that. See it? And it's one of those things where you don't even need like the OBV of the RSI. If you've done this long enough, you can just, you can see it in the price. It's a bounce into resistance in a downtrend. That's what fetch is doing. I would maybe be setting up to short here. Great question. Very lively chat room. I'm very thankful for you folks. I will definitely miss some of your comments. I'm going to try my best, but I'll miss some of your comments. You're in Vietnam. Thank you. Hey, Trail. Thank you, man. I hope you're enjoying your time in Vietnam. Finbar said, I'm looking along Ethereum between 34 and 3,200, doubting myself on the pullback. Oh, okay. Well, hey, look, if you're doubting yourself, do nothing, right? You should only ever enter a trade. Like if you enter a trade, and these are like my quotes, right? I always go back to my quotes. If you enter a trade and you feel uncomfortable, something's wrong, right? You probably have too much money, or you're lacking conviction. You should exit the trade and re-enter only when you have like a strong plan and conviction to execute the plan. So do I think it's likely what? That it goes to 3,400? Here's the thing. You don't have to handicap likelihood. You just have to prepare yourself to be ready. Could it pause here? Absolutely. Would it be reasonable? Absolutely. Look at Ethereum. First doji after a while. Working on first red candle in a while. It's got some support now here, maybe around 3,200. That's absolutely a reasonable long thesis, is to wait for a drop to that 3,400 range. Absolutely. Will it get there? I don't know. And you have to be okay with missing a trade, right? You have to be okay with missing a trade. One of the worst things you can do is start to doubt yourself that it's going to come here. So then you start to jump in the middle of a channel. You get chopped out. You have no conviction. If you're in a trade and you're doubting yourself, exit the trade. You need to have a clear mind. And this is why a trading journal is great. You kind of write down what you're thinking and feeling, as you're going through. I'm here for the dance moves. What's up, Bobby? Me too, brother. Thank you. We talked about that. You're welcome for the encyclopedia. Thank you. Thank you. Syrup. Would this be an example of buying a dip in an uptrend? I don't know that syrup has like that much history. Let's take a look at maple syrup, though. It's getting me hungry. Actually, I haven't had lunch yet. I do that whole intermittent fasting. I usually skip breakfast. Yeah, it's dipping an uptrend. Absolutely. It's not a ton of history, but it's an uptrend because it's price above a rising MA200. And you have structure here. Support should be resistance now turned into support, should still be support. That being said, if the price starts to lose 39 cents, yeah, I would maybe step back and say, maybe not as strong as I thought. It might be dropping back even deeper into the range. So yes, this is a very good example of a throwback. What is a throwback? Well, I have a video for you in the Trading Encyclopedia. All right. We talked about this stuff. We talked about that stuff. Okay. I don't chart 1 minute. It was an entertainment candle. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I love that Bitcoin can do crazy stuff in short time frames, Caro. I got you, brother. I got you, brother. We love you, man. Thank you, Zenzina. I love you, too. Esports wants me to look at ZilQ on Binance. Sorry about that. I got the wrong one again. ZilQ, let's try it again. Not Binance US. All right. Thank you for the heads up. And that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, it's a bad chart. It's a bad chart, brother. I would avoid this chart. However, if it bounced just like DOT, if this can bounce a little bit higher, esports, you might have a good eye for a short, right? You need to learn to separate how you feel about this. I love the technology. I love the whatever, right? These are all nonsense. These are vehicles for speculation. This is a downtrend that's bounced. If the price gets a little bit higher, I would look to short this. I don't like the chart. What's up, Joshua? What do you think about Crypto Crown's trading system? Which one would use And do you recommend it? I don't know his system that well. I know that Eric, when he puts out tweets, like his charts look good, they're clean. He's got a good feel for the market, right? But I really couldn't explain to you his system. I honestly try not to pay too much attention to what other people are doing. I want my analysis to come from my instinct, from my experience, my gut. Even my colleagues at Bitcoin Live, who are like world-class colleagues, and you know, probably most of them have actually been doing this longer than me. I don't really pay attention to what they think about Bitcoin or Ethereum. Like, I need it to come from my methodology. So Eric's great. I just did an interview with him on his channel, and hopefully I'll have him on my channel at some point. Oh, by the way, I should mention, I just recently finished an interview with Flawless, who's a content creator. Check out the long-form interview series. And this is a great, great interview. It's over an hour. Tons of alpha. This guy's really smart. I think you folks will like it. And I have more interviews coming. Okay. So I don't know Eric's system, but your question is, like, would I use it? Which one would you use? Brother, you got to find a system that works for you. Take something from Eric, take something from me, take something from Peter Brandt, take something from, Chartman Dan, take something from everybody who's, high quality and make it work for you. And you definitely need to use a trading journal. Like, by using a trading journal, it forces you to stop. It forces you to think about how you're feeling. It forces you to write down a trading idea, to write down a trading thesis, and see if it's defensible. I mean, that's what the whole point of a trading journal is. There's a lot of value there. Can you show me where you saw the left shoulder in QNT? I feel like it's super obvious. Isn't it? Isn't it obvious? That's an interesting question. So here's QNT. I put out a tweet for you folks yesterday, and I said, testing the neck baseline of an IHNS. What's an IHNS? Well, it's an inverted head and shoulders. You can intuitively just see this. Do I really need to draw it? I'll do it. I mean, I'm happy to do it. It seemed pretty clear to me, right? So you look at the head jumps out, right? A couple things, like, for me, are just super obvious in this. The head's obvious, and the neck baseline. And it's a beautiful horizontal neck baseline. Right shoulder, left shoulder, right? And it doesn't matter if you draw it here or here. You can draw it this way. And there's all these little terms. You got a complex left or wide left, narrow right. That doesn't really matter. Like, construction of head and shoulders, what's most important, and there's nuance, of course, right? You want to have more volume in the left shoulder than the head. And you kind of have that here. And I have video on this, of course, in the Trading Encyclopedia. But what you want to look at is, where does it trigger, right? On a break of the neck baseline. Where does it invalidate? Right shoulder. So your question was, can you show me where I saw the left shoulder? I mean, I don't know that hopefully I don't need to draw this. It should be pretty clear. And don't focus too much on exactly, do I need to do this? Dip. Here's your head. Here's your shoulder. Here's your neck baseline. You don't even really have to call this a head and shoulders. You can call it a cup and handle. It's got with your trigger level here, right? So, simplify your method, focus on key levels. It's not about naming a pattern, it's about, can you trigger here? And you should essentially be triggered long already on QNT as it's breaking out. Love you too, Big C. Thank you, Soom. I looked at Caspa already. I looked at Ethereum versus Bitcoin. I'll do a quick little touch base on that. And what's important here in this chart is that it's making a third attempt, really, or fourth attempt to break the weekly SMA 50 since losing it, right? Attempt, and trying again. And it's lining up with, or has confluence with, a major, SR support resistance pivot, right? Lost support, turned into resistance, 032. I've been marking out the 032 level as the level I want to see flip, to have suggestion that Ethereum is going to continue to outperform Bitcoin in kind of a medium or longer term sense. So that's Ethereum, Bitcoin. I covered it earlier. Maybe we'll do a couple more. This has been a great chat room. But folks, I want to remind you, this is the part of the, a quick market updates. I do these Tuesday, Friday. I said that interview came out with Flawless. I've got Trading Encyclopedia. You will love this. Please check out the playlist. Tell me what you think. These are 3-minute videos, right? On subjects you're trying to learn. How do I do confirmation? How to play a fake out? What's an inverted hammer? Your volume base. Look at all these videos. And then I've got like a whole bunch I've already recorded, haven't been out yet, right? So it's one every day. Check that out. Can you look at ENA. I'll look at one or two more. And then I'm going to get some sunshine because it's a nice day today. Not a ton of history on ENA. Interesting. I like the volume here. That's accumulation. You can see this, right? So I talked about OBV earlier. You can just tell the OBV is going to be doing that, right? Let's take a look. Boom. Zoom in. Boom. There it is, right? So you can kind of see OBV, right? Now, by the way, I have a video on it. I was just released today how to, use the OBV. You can kind of see it in the chart, right? You see it here. That's accumulation. And it's got a nice little local breakout. It's all right. This is definitely okay. It's an okay chart. And certainly as long as it holds 45 cents, I think bulls have a reasonable thesis. Okay? Joshua says, thank you, fam. We'll do thank you, Joshua. And I'll do one more. We'll do AVAX was requested, and I'll do a quick little wrap-up for you, my good friends. And again, thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you coming. Spending your time here. You could be watching cat videos, you could be watching Netflix, but you're watching Big Cheds AVAX. Yeah. So AVAX has a potential double bottom, peak trough, price distance, time interval, and it's attempting to break out. It's a little bit of an underperformer because, as I've mentioned, much of the market has this type of a structure, whether it be this way or this way. Much of the rest of the market, though, is already broken out and it's above the peak, right? So we know it's weak to the market just based on that, okay? But you have the concept of price interaction with the key level such that you could be structuring either a long or a short trade here. A long trade has a nearby stop loss. A short trade has a nearby stop loss. It's price interaction with the key level. So pay close attention to whether or not the bulls can push through and reject here, okay? All right, and what would I trigger a Bitcoin long? Well, certainly a throwback, a drop back to, and that's why you mark out the daily chart, a drop back to the prior structure, 112, 110K. You also have local range lows that have been respected right around 116K. So you're essentially watching this level. You could structure long and retest at this level, and you would certainly very easily be able to manage it nearby with a stop loss around like 115.5 or something like that. There's a little bit of gap in price such that if it's unable to hold here, it will drop back. But the weekly chart is incredibly strong, right? We have the inside bar, high and tight consolidation, and the breakout. And now we have this spinning top suggesting a little bit more consolidation to come. Probably not as deep a consolidation as we saw, as we were thinking with this inside bar, because it was after a strong advance. This is just a single bar advance. It probably just goes sideways, maybe a couple more days, maybe, and then does something. And we're already starting to see the range getting tight here on the 4 hour, with the tightening Bollinger Bands. Somebody says, Daniel, I remember you had a little video about how to set your charts with the ball. Yeah. So look, Trading Encyclopedia. I made a video for you. What are my moving averages right here? Right? Also moving average basics. I have the video for you. It's in the playlist. Daniel, everything's in here for you. Right? Trading Encyclopedia. You'll love it. So we saw the volume in the daily, and we understood that was a drop back into support. Outside bar, now tightening range. And, bulls will likely continue. No real warning signs whatsoever on Bitcoin. Ethereum, strong advance. And some pause here, some suggestion of a pause with the first doji in 10 sessions, potentially first red candle in quite a while. But overall, the trend is still quite strong. It'll be interesting to see, though, if it can get over the hump, flip weekly SMA 50, flip 032, and set up for a medium to longer term, outperformance versus Bitcoin. Solana, incredibly strong. You should really have already triggered a long on the recapture of the 185 level. Beautiful trade. Beautiful chart. Yeah, not that beautiful. Pretty strong at this point. A couple more I should mention is just the strength of BNB has been notable, and I feel like this chart doesn't get the respect. High time frame. Just an unbelievable weekly chart, and BNB being kind of a harbinger for altcoins overall. BNB being strong, market is strong, right? XRP still looks good. It's pausing. This is a high and tight consolidation. What's a high and tight consolidation? Check out the Trading Encyclopedia. This looks really good too. XRP is grinding higher. Market is good. Just play strong charts. You have so many things to play. Stop messing around DOT, ZILQ, these other nonsense fetch. these garbage charts. Play strong charts. Study them. Have a smaller watch list, 10 plays, 15 plays, and wait for stronger charts to dip. And that will allow you to structure your risk in a responsible way. All right. You need to brush up your skills and learn more. Binge watch the Trading Encyclopedia. Right. Check out these more. Watch old market updates. There's always wisdom. Watch my long form interview series, and please enjoy all the stuff I have for you. My third book is Trading Quotes. I'm making the entire book for free. I've got a good clip of it recorded. I'll do another video next week. Because when I publish a new book, I like to make the other book free. So Trading Journal's out. It's on Amazon. It's doing well. People love it. It teaches you why to use a trading journal, why you need one, how to structure trades. It's kind of a how-to guide for trading. None of that's important. You're here now. Well, it's all important, but the fact is you're here now, and you've taken that step, which means you're interested. So take another further step. Soak up all the videos I have for you. But thank you. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. I'll do more of these. It's Tuesday. I'll be back Friday. In the meantime, catch me on Twitter. Drop me a line on YouTube. And, of course, I'll be on Bitcoin Live. I'll do the full market report. I do that twice a week, every Wednesday and Sunday night. I examine the entire market in detail and make sure our members are ready for whatever comes next. So that's something I do not skip. It's been like 7 years since I've skipped one of these updates. I'll skip YouTube if I'm traveling or something, but not Bitcoin Live. So, folks, thank you. I want to finish up with Church of Eight Wheels. It's our anthem. It's fun. We'll do a little bit of dancing because that's what it's all about, is having fun. So my thanks to you, and I will talk to you folks soon. Let's get this party started. Thank you, everybody. Be well.